Hoffman Show on a Friday here on the Team 980. Always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980 as well. Man, what a day. What a day. Because we get to talk about the best thing in sports. A Game 7 is coming Sunday in the NBA Finals after the Indiana Pacers just absolutely blasted the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. They were up 30 thanks to that Ben Shepherd 3 at the end of the third quarter. Tyrese Halliburton didn't even have to play in the fourth. The Pacers star who came out and had himself a nice little game and was a really important part of building that lead, played just 23 minutes with a strained calf, so now he gets a couple more days to recover, gear up, and Game 7 in Oklahoma City is going to be one of the greatest environments we've seen in recent NBA history. It's one of the best home crowds anyway. But I do think that there will probably be some tightness, some apprehension. Game 7s are typically, while they are great in concept, are typically hideously ugly basketball games. I don't know that's going to be the case in this one. I know I would want it that way if I was Oklahoma City. But we can get there when we get there on the preview portion. But we start just with last night. And I thought it was really interesting how both teams came out. Like, Indiana came out focused with intention. They actually missed a ton of shots early, but I was like, you know what? They're down. They're not, like, this is not good, because if Oklahoma City gets on a run here and starts to put some things together, then we're in deep trouble if we're the Pacers. But Oklahoma City couldn't really hit anything either. They looked helter-skelter. Their offense was a nightmare all night long, and Indiana obviously found it and started hitting some shots after the early misses, but they played their way. And that's the thing about this Pacers team. They will continue to play their style, which is so unique at any point, up 30, down 30, and anything in between. And the ability to just keep on playing, to find the rhythm, to find the right shot makers, to find the matchups. And then the small adjustments on the other side of it defensively, where they stopped finally picking up SGA full court. They realized we're going to need Andrew Nembhard offensively a little bit more and to carry some load, because Halliburton obviously was banged up, and it paid off in a major way because Nembhard hit a bunch of shots. He was able to get in the paint. McConnell continues to be literally unbelievable. How is that guy that good? And you know, it kind of goes back to what I said yesterday, though, on the show, in that it was really important for Halliburton to be able to play because it allows everyone to stay in their role. Even if you can takes down some of his minutes, and I didn't think he wouldn't have to play in the fourth quarter, but letting McConnell run that second unit with Halliburton on the floor, by the way, for a part of it. And something else we talked about, that the Halliburton-McConnell combination is lethal, because it guarantees that McConnell, you're not going to take Lou Dort off of Tyrese Halliburton to put him on TJ McConnell. Now, if I'm Mark Daigneault, I might look at it for Game 5, because Aaron Wiggins can't guard TJ McConnell. Casey Wallace can't guard TJ McConnell. None of these other dudes can guard TJ McConnell, which is not something you should be talking about in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. TJ's good, but we're talking about he's unguardable. But that is exactly what he has been in this series, is a guy that in, 5 of the 7 games has been ridiculous. Or 5 of the 6 games, 4 of the 6 games so far has been ridiculously good offensively. His ability to get in the paint, get touches, get shots off, get shots for others. Obi Toppin at home has turned into a reliable player. At least he gets to say that for this series, because they're done playing in Indiana. Nembhard was great. Halliburton, hits a couple of shots, finds a rhythm, but mostly he just keeps them going. He finds Shepherd on that big run out at one point during one of their big runs. His ability to keep the ball popping and moving, and then Siakam's doing Siakam stuff. Miles Turner, bless his heart, he can't buy a bucket. That dude cannot make a shot in this series, but he keeps playing really hard. And I think the togetherness, the identity, all of that from Indiana was on display last night. And we can talk about this more on Monday if they win. But I also don't want to not talk about it now, because I don't want this point to pass. The NBA has entered not only an unprecedented era of parity, but the NBA has also entered an unprecedented era of homogeny. And that's never a good thing. The idea that we're all doing the same thing. I mean, this could be a whole larger societal discussion. Like there's this like terrifying study that I believe it was MIT released this week about what AI is doing to our brains. How like kids that are doing research papers with the help of ChatGPT don't remember stuff that's in the paper, probably because they didn't write it, like 5 minutes later. And it's like the whole point of going to school is to learn. It's not to turn in papers and get grades. It's not about the assignment. It's about the process of learning how to learn so that you are a problem solver and can think as an adult and function in society when you get older. And if we take that from the far, like the really serious, like, are we raising a bunch of idiots who are just going to plug everything to a computer? By the way, a computer that's fed by our own knowledge. And thus, if this is as smart as we're ever going to be as a civilization, that doesn't seem great. But if we are taking it purely in a sporting sense, finding inefficiencies, finding ways to innovate, being different, being difficult for opponents is how you win in sports. Yes, being great at something is going to be a helpful tool, right? In a game where the three-point shot became valuable, and in an era when the three-point shot became valuable, it's not a coincidence that the greatest shooter the game has ever seen in Steph Curry is kind of the player who defined the era, right? Like that's not coincidental, but it was that they were able to do it at such a better rate than everyone else, and then everyone else slowly but surely maybe not could do what they do, but they caught up in a lot of ways. And now you're looking for a zig when everybody's figured out finally how to zag. And by the time everyone figures out how to zag again, then maybe it's time to zig. And I think that's what's really like enjoyable about, frankly, both of these teams. They both play a style that's tremendously different than the best way, quote unquote, to play basketball that we've been told for the last 15 years. That you need to hunt threes at a borderline absurd rate. What felt absurd, but quote unquote, the math told us. And look, I'm pro analytics. I'm pro understanding where our efficiencies are. But the thing I've always said about analytics holds true here to the nth degree, which is that data is only as good as the people interpreting it. Yes, 3 is more than 2, but 2 is greater than 0. You have to figure out where your 2s are, where who should be attacking the free throw or the basket to try to get free throws, who should be shooting 3s, what shots are good shots, what shots are bad shots, and that involves individual profiles. And sure, there are profiles that will emerge from large data sets, aka the whole league. Oh, more players hit this shot better under these circumstances, and they can get really granular with the data because they have player tracking and all these things. But in this era that kind of is pushing basketball all in the same direction, that we have the same kinds of players, that we have the same kinds of styles, that we have everything, Indiana has said, we're going to get away from what traditionally has worked to win championships. We don't have a distinct star. I have defended Tyrese Halliburton throughout this series as a star, as a superstar, as a whatever. He would be the best player on a championship team since at least the 2004 Pistons, and if not in NBA history. Yet, I think this team is excellent. It's just different than what we've seen since the 70s. We've always had the Magics, the Birds, the Jordans, the Kobes, the Shaqs, the Duncans, the LeBrons, the Stephs. Even in this parity era, it's been Jokic, it's Giannis. Kawhi in 2019 with the Raptors was as good of a basketball player for a single year as we've seen. He's up there. He just doesn't have the resume for his career because he hasn't been able to stay healthy up to that point or after. But as a singular player in a moment in time, he was up to that level. This Pacers team is on pace, unless Siakam goes for like 22, 24 plus in Game 7 and the Pacers win, they're probably not going to finish the series with a 20-point scorer in the finals. We've never seen a team like this. 2004, Hamilton, Howard Beck was talking about this on Zach Lowe's show, so credit to them for looking this up. Hamilton and Billups both averaged 21 a game for the 2004 Pistons in the NBA Finals. We have never seen it done like this. And credit to Oklahoma City, too, because to be clear, they also don't play the same way. Both these teams play really fast. But in an era that has been defined by offense and three-point shooting, the Oklahoma City Thunder have played defense differently at a higher level than everyone else. And they're actually, obviously not a prolific three-point shooting team. And so what happens is when everyone figures out how to do something, we can localize this if we want to, right? The Commanders, Dan Quinn literally talked about this 2 weeks ago or a week ago on Chris Long's show. Part of the reason their tempo offense works, yes, Jaden can handle it and he's awesome. But their tempo works because they do it more than everyone else and other teams can't handle it. They major in something that's a minor for other people. It's why the triple option works for the academy schools in college. If everybody ran triple option, the academy schools would be screwed because they do it to yuck it up because they don't have the talent. So what happens when you get the talent of a Halliburton, a Siakam, on down the list? Nembhard's a really freaking good basketball player. What happens when you get that and you put that in a style, in an identity that people don't know how to deal with? You get this. And I know the ratings for the first couple of games weren't very good and small markets, and these are fairly unknown stars. But man, I hope people are paying attention because this is good hoop. It's great hoop. And I think it makes those of us that care about the game ask really foundational and fundamental questions about what is next in terms of what it takes to win in the NBA. And that's exciting because we've had an answer for a long time. You need one of the 7 best players in the world. You need to be able to hit threes at a high level. You need to have a top X offense and defense. Otherwise, you're not a championship team. And these two teams, for a variety of reasons, are turning that on its head. And I don't know what to do with that information yet. I'm excited to see what other teams do with that information or to see if this is simply a blip on the radar. And insert team with star here wins it next year, and it's as traditional as it's ever been. And this looks real blippy like that 04 Pistons team. But this is fun. And the fact that we've gotten the max out of it with a Game 7 coming, what a treat for all of us who are basketball fans. We'll talk about the game more specifically last night next, and then I'm going to run that premise by Josh Robbins, Wizards reporter for The Athletic. He wrote a fantastic piece about the state of the Wizards rebuild going into the draft, which is, of course, first round on Wednesday. So we're loaded up with basketball, NBA basketball here in the first hour of the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app, streaming live on YouTube too, at the Team 980. Josh Robbins, Wizards insider for The Athletic, going to join us coming up at 4:30 here on the show. NBA draft is next Wednesday. Josh wrote a big piece about that, as well as we'll get to some of his opinions on this NBA Finals. And Anthony, just could not have gone better for Indiana last night in so many ways. The fact that Halliburton only has to play 23 minutes in that game, gets out healthy, and now he gets to rest a couple more days. I mean, he looked good. He could finally get his shot off last night, which is obviously huge. If I'm Indiana, I'm a pig in slop. I'm as happy as could be. I think, though, what I'm trying not to do is overreact to that one game. You know, at home, guys like Wiggins have been Case and Wallace have been way better, hit a lot more shots. Oklahoma City last night, even if they hit, I'd have to do the math real quick. Even if they hit like all their threes, I don't know if they would have won last night. That's how bad they got beat. But they've been a better three-point shooting team by far at home. They've gotten more contributions from role players at home. And guys like Obi Toppin have not been quite as effective for Indiana on the road. So I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. And I do think the fact that SGA, he even alluded to it in the post game, like, hey, we came out a little nervous. We came out, the moment got to us. The fact that they've been through that once already. We saw them rebound and absolutely smash Denver in Game 7. I'm not getting out ahead of myself and saying, for as great as things went for Indiana last night, that they're just going to roll into OKC and beat a 68-win Thunder team who's been fantastic at home and frankly hasn't been very good on the road in the playoffs.
So I'll start with the game before I guess we'll talk about Game 7 later.
Yeah.
But yesterday's game, the job that Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell did, I think that's where I put my focus first, just because of how impactful they were. Like the Pacers got out to a slow start. Jalen Williams, he looked like he had picked up from where he had left off in Game 5. Like he got out to a good start. And then things started to turn once that second unit came into the game. So I think that's sort of kind of like where things shifted. And if OKC is going to shoot like they did yesterday, where you go 1 for 11 from 3, like you're not going to be able to beat this team, because again, they rely so much on their ability to shoot. So the Case and Wallace not showing up, Aaron, what's his last name?
Wiggins.
Yeah, him showing up short yesterday. It just, if you're not going to be able to knock down threes consistently, I think you're going to be in for a long series.
Yeah, that 1 for, well, let's see, their starters went, that's 1 for 6, 1 for 10, 1 for 13 from 3. Jalen Williams, the Arkansas version, who came in, not J-Dub, he went 2 for 3, and so did Isaiah Joe, who I think we will see in Game 7 after he didn't play in Game 5, and then obviously Game 6 was a blowout situation. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I think the other interesting thing is, like, Alex Caruso is a minus 33 in this game. I kind of wonder, does Dagnon make another starting lineup change and go with Caruso from jump? So that's something that
I didn't like that, though, yesterday, Craig. To start the second half, he went to a smaller lineup as opposed to the double big lineup. And it didn't necessarily work. So I just don't understand. I think when he plays small ball, I think that favors the Pacers as opposed to, like, the Thunder. Like, on paper, theoretically, it does sound like, all right, you guys should play small ball because you have all these defensive weapons. Everybody's versatile. You can, switch and things of that nature. But this series, it has not gone in their favor. And I think that's sort of kind of why he went to the double big lineup in the first place.
Well, I mean, the double big is how they started most games this season, in a season which they won 68 games. But the Pacers are a unique challenge. Like, they run at such a high rate, and they want to get out in transition. So having the athletes to get back, like, that's the problem, is you can say, okay, we'll take your smalls and we'll bludgeon them with bigs, but you can't hit what you can't catch.
Yeah.
And so it's this literal sports-wide, age-old question, speed versus size. Like, what wins? And Indiana has made it so that Oklahoma City's kind of afraid to play with size. And I don't know that that's the wrong answer. But the thing is, like, unless Chet plays better and shoots it better, they're in deep trouble. I mean, man, I think the thing that's like fascinating to me about this series is I feel like Indiana has been the more declarative team. Like how Indiana plays dictates the game way more than how Oklahoma City plays. Now, Oklahoma City has had distinct moments where they have flipped the script on that, where they're like, we are in charge. Defensively, we are now suffocating. We are turning you over at a ridiculous rate. We are forcing these turnovers. They are not unforced. We are forcing you to miss shots. We are not giving you anything. But by and large, I feel like Indiana has dictated the series. And if that happens again in Game 7, like I think the Pacers are going to go on the road and win. I think the best shot for Oklahoma City is kind of a more traditional Game 7 that gets really bogged down, is really grimy, and really, really defensive. Not that Indiana can't play that way, but it's certainly not how they want to play. We'll get more into Game 7 at 6:30 and more throughout the show. Andrew Chernoff, my pal, is going to join us from Wish TV in Indianapolis coming up at 5 o'clock for Not My Beat. He's hope the cell service is good. He's on the road somewhere between Indianapolis and Oklahoma City. That's
driving?
Yeah, they're driving.
Salute to him.
Yeah, so the good news is it'll be flat, so hopefully the cell service carries well. But we'll have Chernoff on at 5 o'clock. Up next, though, I want to talk to Josh Robbins about the NBA Finals. I want to talk to Josh about the Wizards because that's the team that he covers. He wrote a really good piece in The Athletic of kind of an update on their rebuild. The update is there is no update. We'll explain next. It's Hoffman Show. We're on the team 980, and we're brought to you by Amazon. Okay, I've got some good news, and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news this year, you'll have 4 days to find deals on all your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th. The NBA draft is next week, and I'm very excited to see what the Wizards do. They currently have the 6th, 18th, and 40th picks. It's a 2-day affair. Wednesday night, the first round. So picks 6 and 18, and then 40 as part of the second round, which is on Thursday night. And joining us now to discuss all that is our guy, Josh Robbins, the Athletic Wizards insider. Josh, how we doing, man?
I'm doing well. That was some epic walk-up music, but somehow I feel like it wasn't just because I was on the air.
I mean, we try to have
great walk-up music.
We try to have good intro music all the time. We do take requests, by the way. We did have a guest who kind of freaked out because he was listening to the show outside of when he was going to be on, and he heard his intro music, and he was very mad at Anthony. So if you would like to claim a song, Josh, we can do that for you.
My ego isn't that large. It's substantial,
Okay.
but it's not that large. So
Well,
thanks for the offer. It's appreciated.
You're so very welcome. And I will say the guest was Clinton Yates, and we've already told that story on the show, and he joins us in an hour, and Anthony will play Paramore then. Okay, Josh, you wrote a fantastic...
All right, he's got gravitas. He can call his shot. He
does. He does. Josh, you wrote a great piece in The Athletic on the Wizards rebuild and kind of where this team is. Obviously, everyone that's a Wizards fan had high hopes for this draft lottery. They ultimately wind up getting the 6th pick in a draft that has really interesting prospects, maybe down to 7 or 8 at this point, the way some of these boards are going right now. There's kind of a group of, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, and then a group of somewhere between 4 and 6 players. If they weren't going to get one of the top 2 picks, Josh, how much of a difference do you think it makes they got, let's say, 6 versus 3 or 4, both in what players might be available to them, but also in, Will Dawkins and Michael Winger's, willingness and desire and ability to maneuver within the draft?
I think that their third tier of players after Cooper Flagg in the first tier by himself, Dylan Harper in the second tier by himself, consists of 6 guys. In no particular order here. Con Knipple, DJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, Kamal Malawatch. I think that's all. Jeremiah Spears. So
yes.
That would be 6. And I wish I knew exactly how they ranked the people in that 6-man group. I suspect that they would have DJ Edgecombe as the 3rd best prospect there, but that's guesswork. And there's no question, if you're drafting 6th, you'd prefer to draft 5th. If you're 5th, you prefer to draft 4th, so on and so forth. The 2 best prospects in this draft clearly are Flagg and Harper, and now it's on that front office to find the person or people after those 2 guys who can become an all-star caliber player. And it's a very, very difficult task because after those first 2 players, it's not all that impressive a draft.
So, Josh, the guys you just mentioned all are really intriguing for different reasons. And I'll use that word intriguing, not to say that, I have strong feelings that one or the other. I think all in those 6, I could tell you why they could be good. I could tell you why they could completely bust out of the league because that's the nature of the NBA draft. When you think of the way that they've drafted in the past and whatever reporting you did on this, is there something that you feel confident in saying about whether it's the makeup of the player, the skill set, something that stands out about 1 or 2 of these guys to you that makes you think that if you had to guess, that might be the favorite on their board?
Sure. Yes. The answer is yes, with the caveat being this at number 6, this is not a particularly strong draft. Okay. It just isn't. They're going to say otherwise. Certainly Jay Billis on the broadcast is going to say otherwise. Take that for what that's worth. What do the Wizards value? Well, they value people who really love the game who are going to work their tails off and don't need to be cajoled into working hard. And they've done that since Will Dawkins, Travis Schlenk, Mike Winger have taken over the front office. They prefer positional size whenever they can get it. They prefer multi-positional guys. That's where that size comes in. Feel for the game, and preferably, all of the things equal, and actually it's probably even higher than that on their list, that they have the athleticism and the eagerness to defend. And one of the things that, in my opinion, make this draft interesting, but also, what I would say from the Wizards' perspective, worrisome, is that none of the people I just mentioned from in that third tier are certain two-way players. If you look at the finals right now, those teams have a bunch of two-way players. I'm not certain that any of the people in that third tier are certain two-way players, and that's a problem.
So Edgecombe is the guy you mentioned earlier is maybe the top, and that would make sense based off the criteria, right? His athleticism is off the charts. His makeup is excellent. Everyone raves about the kid. It's the offensive game that you have to worry about. On the opposite end of that spectrum is Ace Bailey, tremendous shot maker, not nearly as big as was advertised. He was listed at Rutgers at 6'10". He measured at the combine at 6'7.5". There's real questions on the makeup, the character, and often those come with defensive liabilities as well. Like, where do you – and Bailey, by the way, is a guy that is not working out for teams. How surprised – I'll ask you this. How surprised would you be if Ace Bailey wound up as a Washington Wizard, knowing if their tier is – that third tier is 6, not 4? That there's no way that he's the only guy in the tier that is left when they get on the board at 6?
I think that there would be a real possibility that they would draft him because he has an elite skill, and that's to score. And, of course, we could parse out whether that will work at the NBA level, which is something that Dawkins and crew would have to have thought out, and I'm certain they already have. Considering how thorough they are. Will his offensive game translate? The knock on him offensively is that he takes a bunch of difficult shots. And that was in college. That was in college against players who athletically and in terms of their size are nowhere close to the people he's going to compete against in the pros. And so will that translate to the NBA game? It's great that he was able to hit difficult shots in college, but will he be able to do that again in the pros? And then there are all these other questions. Does he have a feel for the game? Does he pass? He's 6'7.25". That's a problem. That's a problem because if you were to put his skill set in a 6'10" guy, and you could play him at the 4, and he would have certain skills that a lot of 4s don't have. But there's a risk that if he is strictly a wing in the pros, there's not much there. I say a risk. I'm not saying it's definitely the case, where there's not much to really make him stand out. I know that I'm going both ways here. Yes, I could see them draft him if he's available at 6 because he has got a certain skill, and that's to score, that is potentially elite.
Yeah, he is the ultimate high floor, low ceiling guy, or sorry, other way around, high ceiling, low floor guy in this draft. Josh Robbins, senior writer, covering the NBA and the Wizards, of course, at The Athletic with us here on the Hoffman Show. The other thing that I think is like a multi-pronged thought process here, Josh, or the other guy is Jeremiah Fears. Fears, the point guard out of Oklahoma, and there's a lot to like there, but they also have a bit of a logjam at point guard. Jordan Poole is here. Bob Carrington obviously drafted last year. And we saw last year they traded Denny Avdia on draft night to create space that ultimately became the minutes that Keyshawn George got. So they think about, do we have a path to develop this player as a part of what they do? So where does that leave Fears potentially on their board? And also, are your ears to the ground anticipating any kind of veteran player movement for the Wizards for the second straight year on draft night?
Well, the Denny trade was really about getting 2 first-round picks that they otherwise would not have had, and they used one of those on Carrington. And now they have another that they will be using very, very soon. So I believe next year is the next first-round pick from that deal. So they want bites of the apple. And, yes, you're right. Moving out Denny did open up playing time, I think, really for Bilal and Keyshawn George and also Carrington, which I kind of forget what the question. Yes, there will. The crossover with Bub. The question really is, if you're thinking about bringing someone into Bub's lane in terms of positional fit, is he any better than Bub? Is he much better than Bub? If he's equal to Bub, you don't bring him in. You don't draft him. All other things equal. You would prefer to find someone of similar upside at a different position. And if they wind up drafting Jeremiah Fears, which, well, I don't think is going to happen, but if it does happen, I think that gives you some insight onto either one of 2 players. Either they think Jeremiah Fears has got a tremendous upside, or simply that they think he's better than Bub Carrington. Of the people I mentioned, I don't think that he's going to be the guy they pick, but Will Dawkins has a better feel for someone's long-term upside, and the reality is Jeremiah Fears did a lot of really good things last year at Oklahoma at an incredibly young age, which is a signpost that there's something to work with there.
Yeah, Fears, like Flag, reclassified, so he really should be going into his freshman year of college this year. Should have just finished his senior year of high school, as opposed to having finished a year of college and entering the NBA. Josh Robbins with us from The Athletic here on the Hoffman Show. Josh, I do want to ask you about the finals in a second and kind of what we're learning and what lessons you're taking out of it. But real quick, before we get to that, the Wizards also have 18 in this draft. We saw them, we know that they're willing to maneuver around. They move up last year to get that, the 14th pick, like you mentioned. That's a range they feel like they can get a hit in. And they're not afraid to move around, but kind of in that range, whether they stay at 18 or they move up a little bit. Do you have any idea what they're thinking about the type of player, whether that's like, hey, we want a really solid supporting role player with a high floor, whether we want to take a big swing there positionally? What can you tell us about what you think they're going to do at that 18th pick?
Well, I would say if they were able to package 6 and 18 to move up several spots, they would probably do it in a heartbeat. And I don't anticipate that really coming to fruition. Dylan Harper, I think, is a pipe dream at 2. I think that their goal at outside the lottery there is the same as it is in the lottery. It's to find the best all-around player in the long term. I don't think that they get hung up too much on position. It's just whoever they feel has the chance to become the best all-around NBA player. And considering what this draft is, it's not a particularly deep draft as far as I'm concerned. Not all that excited about that pick, frankly. I'm not. But, again, there's always one, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 people who are drafted outside the lottery who are huge surprises. And that's part of the luck that they have to create for themselves. They have to find value in prospects that other teams do not. And that's why there's a new front office, and that's going to be one of the areas in which the new front office is going to be evaluated.
So that kind of brings us to the larger...
You also asked me...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't anticipate... By the way, you asked about veterans being moved. I don't anticipate Jordan Poole being moved on draft night. I'm sorry, I forgot to answer that question earlier. I just don't. So, yeah.
Yeah, and well, I don't anticipate it either, but who knows? If they had told me Denny Avdija moved last draft night, I wasn't as surprised. You probably you do this all the time, Josh. You probably had a little intel that could be possible, but we'll see what happens happens on Wednesday. You mentioned the late lottery, guys that have hit, and there's always someone somewhere, and it's this front office's job to find it. And it does seem, Josh, like we're seeing more of it now. That it used to be the best players in the league were all top draft picks. And, starting kind of with Steph Curry at 7. And then, we have guys obviously like Giannis and Jokic who are international players. And we can explain that away like, oh, they were international guys. Halliburton now, Shea, like these are guys that were taken in the double digits, kind of late lottery, mid-teens type of draft picks. Do you have a theory as to why we're seeing some NBA superstars not identified as easily as they seemingly used to be when it was the top 3 picks were where you got most of the all-stars in this league?
Yes, I do actually. And it's primarily that almost everyone these days, it seems, is one and done. Or in a couple cases, they even went like to the G League Ignite or OTE Elite, or in Alex Sarr's case, out of his own country and to Australia. It's really that the draft pool is probably younger than it's ever been before. These guys played less upper-level basketball outside of the AAU system than they ever did before, and therefore they're harder to project. And I question whether the quality of college coaching is what it was 20 years ago. I don't think it is. And I also think the impact of the AAU circuit is probably malign in terms of building feel for the game that used to be there several decades ago in the so-called good old days. So that's why I think it's more difficult on balance to evaluate players now.
That makes sense. It's my theory as well, not to mention the mix of international players that we see now. So you're not scouting from a kind of united place or a homogenous place to be able to compare player to player, which has now led to these teams that are built differently than we've ever seen NBA champions before. Josh, I opened the show, and we'll wrap things here with Josh Robbins from The Athletic. I opened the show talking about how both these teams are fairly unique in what has become a very homogenous NBA. They both play different styles, they being, of course, the Thunder and the Pacers. But in the Pacers case in particular, if they were to win on Sunday night, they would be the most unique team that we've ever seen win a title, at least since the 70s, in terms of the lack of star power. Like, I love Tyrese Halliburton. I love Pascal Siakam, but they are not the generational superstar talent, Hall of Fame, like first ballot Hall of Fame type of guys that we typically see leading title teams, even in this era of parity recently with the Giannis and the Jokic, the MVP level players. And so I'm curious if you're looking at it through a Wizards lens or a team building lens. I know you spent a lot of time in Orlando and you're now watching with a keen eye on what the Magic just did acquiring Desmond Bane. What can we take out of these two finalists in terms of what it means to build a championship level NBA team for the next half decade?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, all these teams have guys who can shoot. Both of them. Where if they don't have 4 guys at least on the floor at once who are all be able to shoot threes, it's because it's garbage time. So you got to be able to shoot. They have a bunch of two-way players. You're correct that neither team has the number 1 overall pick and is being led by a former number 1 overall pick. What I would counter is by saying Oklahoma City's case, well, they got a lot of bites of the apple. And contrary to every other NBA team in history, they've been able to stockpile a number of first-round picks, both that they've used and they will have to use. And that's something the league has never quite seen before. The most interesting commonality from a roster construction standpoint, is that each team got its very best player through trade. And not only that, the person who came in was clearly undervalued relative to who he became by their original team. SGA, now in hindsight, would the Clippers have made that move for Paul George? No. At the time, it was viewed as a no-brainer because it also landed them Kawhi. They're regretting that now. In terms of the Pacers, well, it seemed like a straight-up trade Sabonis for Halliburton. Well, the Kings also had Fox, I get that, but they clearly they didn't properly evaluate Halliburton. So, yes, you can do it via trade, but you better have someone to trade in the first place. And I'm not sure that the Wizards have any single player on their roster right now who could net a blockbuster trade in the way that both the Pacers had and the Thunder had at that time.
We'll see if they get one on
I
Wednesday.
wish we had another segment to discuss it because it's fascinating.
Well, Josh, if we're, I don't know what our plans are for Wednesday in terms of doing the show, if we're going to be out at the draft party or anything. But if we are where you are, we can discuss that at length because I think it's one of the most fascinating topics in the entire league right now. And you're the kind of person who I would like to talk about that with. So if we're in the same place on Wednesday, how about we do that in person?
Hey, if you'll have me, I'd be happy to do it. And if I'm not chasing news.
Hey, if you're chasing news, we're chasing news too. So, we'll chase together.
Okay, great.
All right. That's Josh Robbins. Josh, again, great work on the piece and appreciate your time as always. Josh Robbins with us here on the Hoffman Show. Again, his piece on the Wizards rebuild is really good. If you kind of want to understand where the Wizards are right now, how they're thinking. I feel like Josh got more insight. A lot of it's like unnamed sources, that kind of thing. Source familiar, but like Josh is an excellent reporter. He's not putting it on print if it's not true. And so I think he got more people to talk than I think have talked in a while. And so really, really great insight. If you're interested, just go to The Athletic and check out Josh's piece from Wednesday is when that initially came out. Tuesday when that initially came out on the 17th. All right, when we get back here on the Hoffman Show, let's go to Indiana or somewhere between Indianapolis and Oklahoma City. Andrew Chernoff, my buddy, my pal, who joined us at the start of the NBA Finals to talk about the Pacers. He's from Wish TV in Indy, is going to join us again as we're on the verge of Game 7. Still to come as well, Mystics guard Brittany Sykes ahead of their game tonight against the Atlanta Dream. Clayton Yates on the show as well. We're locked and loaded on a Friday on the Team 980. It's Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube, too, at the Team 980. And just after 5 o'clock, It is time for Not My Beat.
Today's top story from the perspective of someone who's there.
You are looking live.
This just in.
Not My Beat.
Andrew Chernoff is back with us, host and reporter for Wish TV in Indianapolis, and he is currently somewhere between Indianapolis and Oklahoma City because he's got a Game 7 to get to. Andrew, where are you?
We are about 6 miles away from, I think, St. Louis. I know we're still a couple hundred miles away, I think, from Buc-ee's, though. That's obviously one of the focal points on this long drive down here.
Yeah, no, Buc-ee's home of anything you could ever buy at a gas station, including any variety of beef jerky that's ever been invented and some that haven't yet somehow. I don't know how that works scientifically or chronologically, but it's actually true. Okay, well, Andrew, if you see a giant arch, that is St. Louis. So that's my Syracuse education for you.
Oh, I thought that was Minneapolis. My bad. My geography is really bad. That must be the issue.
Yeah, not as bad as our friend Neff's, but that's a different story, and now I have to send him this clip. All right. I've known Andrew since we were at Syracuse together. He joined us like 2 weeks ago at the start of the NBA Finals, and oh, what a series it's been, Andrew. Let's start off last night with Halliburton. We knew he was going to play. When did you have an inkling that he was going to be able to play well?
I think right off the bat when he was starting to shoot the ball and took command, knowing what was at stake. It was one of those things when Tyrese is on, when he is not afraid to shoot, when he's aggressive, you know he's going to do his thing. And he may miss a couple shots, but at least it's the mentality, right? So last night when he wanted to shoot the ball, when he took control early on, was taking it up the court, not necessarily as much as usual. I think they were trying to ease him into it a little bit. But when he was making plays or driving to the basket, hit that floater early in the first quarter, you're thinking, okay, he's good to go. But it was funny. Every time he was running up and down the court, I know a lot of us were glued to like, okay, is he limping? Is he good? And it worked out great with it being a blowout because he didn't have to play 48 minutes. You know what I mean? So it worked out great, but hell of a performance by Tyrese last night without question, especially considering he wasn't 100%, but that was a great opportunity. Now he gets a few days rest, and now we'll see what happens coming up on Sunday night.
We didn't know, obviously, what we were going to get from Halliburton last night, and it seemed like some of his teammates were extra locked in. What have you seen from a guy like Drew Nembhard, covering him, not just in these playoffs where he is so locked in last night? You could tell he was ready to take on a bigger offensive load. Carlisle makes the smart adjustment to say, hey, we're not going to have you pick up full court. We need you a little bit more offensively. But what have you seen from covering his career that maybe told you he would be ready for a moment like that?
Last year in the playoffs, Andrew Nembhard was extremely impressive, and just look at the Boston series. So if for whatever reason, and this is Andrew Nembhard, he's a competitor. And I've asked Rick Carlisle about Nembhard throughout this season, and he always says he's just the ultimate competitor. And he does it on the big stage all the time. You look at even his stats of when he hits 3 or more three-pointers in a game. Obviously, he's played way fewer playoff games than regular season games, but the number of games he's done that, it's increased. It's basically the same number in the playoffs as it is in all of his regular season games. The guy just steps up in the biggest moments, and listen, he's got the toughest task of anyone on the court in this entire series, and that's guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, him and Aaron Nesmith, depending on what the situation is. The guy is busting his rear end on defense and has sort of earned like that's his thing. Everyone knows how good of a defensive player he is, but when he gets into the flow of the offense as well, that's when he has big games. Now, we saw him struggle in Game 5. He turned the ball over quite a few times, but when he's on like he was last night, it's just another weapon that the Pacers can rely on.
Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV in Indy with us. And the resilience of this Pacers team has been talked about quite a bit. The ability to have a bounce back after, disappointing Game 5, come out and look as good as you can possibly look in Game 6. What is it about this team, and who are some of maybe the unknown key cogs that give them that kind of spine, Andrew?
I think it just starts with, I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Craig, but it's the whole mentality of a Rick Carlisle-led team where they just move on. And whether it was after game one, we know they had a bad performance game two, but right after game one, they focused on, we can't dwell on what just happened. We got to turn the page to game two. And we had a bad, or it could be vice versa. We had a really bad game. We got to turn the page and focus on the next game. That's been their mentality this entire postseason, and it's working. And it's just this whole mentality they're so good after games of having the same line, right? Which for those of us in the media sometimes gets annoying because it's like, okay, guys, you clearly all huddled up and agreed on what you guys were going to say, but they truly believe that. And it's the same quote, and it's always, okay, we won game 6. We got to now tune out the noise. We know the challenge at hand for game 7. And that's just minutes after winning one of the biggest games in franchise history last night. So they're just focused on what's ahead, and they're always keeping that next goal in mind. And that's what's led this team to now be just one win away from their first ever NBA championship.
So what was the kind of mood in the locker room, the gist of kind of what went down in the locker room last night? Because that is, what a win, what an atmosphere. There's a finality to it because it's the last home game. You're going on the road for game 7. How would you describe the temperament of the players, the coaches last night in the Pacers locker room?
This was the most focused forward after a loss, I think, that I've seen this team immediately after a game. It's the quickest turnaround to be like, okay, we're not even focused on game 6. We know what the opportunity is now going forward. And that's the vibe that I got from that locker room or from the podium last night with all these guys was, hey, great atmosphere, great win. Now we have an opportunity. We know this is it. This is going to be the last game that we have regardless of what happens this season. And not many teams get this opportunity. We're focused. We got to play well. They weren't even really talking, quite frankly, much about what was happening in game 6. They were already turning the page to go to game 7 because I think they understand this isn't guaranteed every year, right? This is cool, and we've all talked about how OKC and Indiana is built for maybe multiple years of this, just the way that the organization is structured for both of those teams. And this could be a rivalry that we see in the NBA Finals, quite frankly, for years to come, but that's not guaranteed. So everyone in that Pacers locker room understands this isn't guaranteed. And that's what I felt like after the game in particular yesterday. They know the opportunity they've got coming up on Sunday, and they're locked in. And I'm sure OKC's feeling the same way.
Yeah, we know that OKC can bounce back. In that Denver series, they got beat in game 6 and were able to win in historic fashion in game 7. So we know they're going to come to play. Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV, Indianapolis, with us here on the Hoffman Show. I want to go back to something you said 2 answers ago, Andrew, about they all have the same messaging. And there are some teams that I've covered, and I'm sure that you've covered, where they say the same things and you don't believe it because you can tell they don't believe it. And then there's other times that teams say the same thing because it's not that they've been fed PR talking points. Like, the messaging on a substantive basis is clearly getting through to them. At what point during this season did you start to hear that, or maybe even last season, did you feel this team coalescing that they really are all rowing the boat in the same direction?
I think it was honestly that run last year where they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, because we started to get that taste of, okay, we just talked to Obi, he said this. It's similar to what TJ said, similar to what Pascal said. And you start, getting this whole thing of, everyone keeps going back to the certain phrasing or whatever it may be. And last night, for instance, TJ McConnell said, hey, the crowd was great last night, awesome, but we know what's at stake, and it's just us against the world, basically. I'm paraphrasing a little bit what he said. All we've got is us coming up in Game 7. We heard that from other guys last night. All we have is us. And this whole Pacers thing, and OKC, again, they're in a sense mirror images for. They're both teams. Like, not every team. We know that, right? A lot of egos involved. There's a lot of personality, and you may not be able to mesh. If you've got a certain superstar or multiple superstars, you're going to have drama. I mean, you can go through the list of recent history, right, on those teams. But this Pacers team in particular, they all row the boat in the same direction. And that's why they're at this point. And you started seeing that last year when they made that run to the that deep postseason run in this offseason when everyone across the country was saying, hey, that was a fluke run for the Pacers last year. Everyone else that they played was hurt. And the Pacers literally used that as motivation, and it made them mad. And they've talked about that. And I think that ever since that offseason, this past offseason, they just have all used that same fuel because they all know what they're capable of, and it's all pushed them in the right direction.
All right, last question for Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV, Indianapolis, as he is somewhere near St. Louis, which is somewhere between Indianapolis and Oklahoma City, where he's heading for Game 7. Andrew, does T.J. McConnell know how tall he is?
No. I don't. He's listed, I think, 6'1" or 6'2". I don't know, 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in that range. He's not that tall. Like, let's just call it what it is. I don't think he's that tall. He's around my height, and I'm not 6 feet tall. I am probably 5'10", but depending on, what Steak and Shake, like sidebar thing where I'm standing against the door, maybe I'm 6 feet tall. But he's not that tall. But, dude, there's very few players in the league that are not afraid to go up against a Chet Holmgren and just drive to the basket. And I'll either go up and under with it or kick it out. I'm not scared to go right at you, even if you're got a foot on me, right? So T.J. McConnell, man, and listen, Pacers fans love that dude. We were even joking just on this drive down, Zach Salo, our photographer who's going with us, but if they win, there may be a T.J. statue before anyone else because this fan base loves T.J. McConnell.
They're just going to build it themselves outside the arena. It's like, who commissioned that? I don't know. A guy, Jerry, he built it with his own hands.
Yes. Oh, I'm saying, listen, there's going to be some people volunteer for that without question. Shoot, there may be multiple T.J. McConnell statues across the state. And maybe it's going to be a new tourism thing where you can check off, go to 20 of them across the state.
On the
and you get a prize
McConnell
if you go to do
scavenger
that.
hunt, Indiana's greatest attraction. Move over, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hoosiers, who are they?
Well, okay.
We're going on a McConnell hunt.
Yes, it's going to definitely be on the top 5 things you can do on that TripAdvisor, things to do in Indiana.
Yep. Amazing. Andrew, have a blast at Game 7, dude. I'm really excited that you get to go cover this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Enjoy the heck out of it, my friend.
Absolutely. The place is going to be nuts. It's the Super Bowl right now of the NBA. We know it's at stake. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun. And whoever wins deserves this. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully it's a great game.
No doubt. Can't wait. Sunday night, we'll be watching. You'll be there. Thanks, bud. Drive safe. And thanks to Zach for putting up with your end of the phone call and my end that he couldn't hear.
Yes, and also Zach's putting up with my playlist anyway. So
that's way worse.
I don't know how he
Honestly,
does it.
tell Zach I said you're welcome for the break from the playlist.
Yes, anytime. Techno music is great, Craig. Come on now. Get on board.
Anthony, get him off the phone. All right. Andrew Chernoff with us here on the Hoffman Show. Appreciate you, sir, especially when I don't have to hear your music. Okay. That's my good friend Andrew Chernoff. Again, Wish TV in Indianapolis. You can check out their website if you want more of his coverage. Man, Oklahoma City is going to be a blast on Sunday night. I'm sure Gamebridge is going to be a blast on Sunday night. They'll have a watch party with a bunch of people there. That's become kind of a cool thing in the NBA, the road teams. We did it here in 2018 with the Capitals in the Stanley Cup. I was at Capital One Arena watching them win. So, man, those are cool events, and I cannot wait for this game on Sunday night. All right, we're talking about some different stuff for the rest of the hour. Coming up at 5:30, Clinton Yates will join us talking about the Lakers sale. Take command. Who's got the best offensive line in the NFC East? Logan and I debate that. Brittany Sykes, Mystics guard, coming up at 6 o'clock, our weekend preview, and then our official Game 7 preview as well at 6:30. So we're locked and loaded as we're almost halfway through on a Friday here on the Team 980. Show. Clinton Yates joins us 5:30 here on the Team 980 ESPN and ESPN LA. Commentator on the Lakers sale. Lots of questions coming out of that this week. We'll probably do some more on that big picture next week in terms of what it means for the sports world. But we will now talk about Anthony ending Darius's Madden career. You ended bro's career?
Yes. Sadly, it had to come to that, but it was either me or him.
It was you or someone else had to do it, unless this was the championship game.
This was the divisional game.
Oh, okay. So
divisional round.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could have ended it himself if he had beat you and ultimately won the Super Bowl. So to back up for a second, Darius, the lead producer over at Grant and Danny, has a fairly serious Madden league. And is Darius with us as well?
No.
Okay, I saw you turn another fader on. I was like, is there another microphone that's about to be activated?
No. I think they're in the middle of a segment, so.
Oh, he has to do his job?
Yeah.
Damn shame. Yeah, so you guys have a Madden league. Darius has been doing this forever. You have been a controversial figure in the league. We had a segment earlier in the season where I ruled that actually I was taking your side, that people needed to figure out how to stop what you were doing as opposed to complaining about it. Yep. It is a sim league, so there is an element of realism, but all you were doing was spamming stuff other people couldn't stop. That's real NFL football. That's what happens in 2025. If the Pacers hadn't figured out how to stop the Shea J-Dub pick and roll, they would have kept doing it. NBA, NFL, same thing. Hey, one of the most famous sequences in the history of the Washington Commanders franchise, burgundy and gold, is what? 50 gut. Hey, run it again, run it again, run it again. So no problem ruling in your favor there. But here you guys go, going down in the playoffs, and give me the quick rundown of the game here.
So it was a defensive battle, man. The final score ended up being 19-16. I edged them out in overtime, 19-16. The only offensive touchdown I scored was in overtime. I was getting down. I could move the ball between the 20s, but once it got down to, the red zone and, even inside the 5, I just had to take my points. I was on the 1-yard line, Craig, and I said, I'm going to take my points.
Oh, man.
Because I had
how I feel about 23-yard field goals. I think they should be illegal.
I mean, the thing is, his defense is so good. So I just had to take my points, and on the other end, he took his points. He got down. He literally got to the 1-yard line and kicked the field goal.
Are QB sneaks legal?
Yeah, but, I know how to stop them.
What if it's not a QB sneak? You don't know.
I mean, I don't, but, I position myself so if you are running a QB sneak.
How do you you do field goal block?
No. Are you about to use this?
I don't play online, so.
Oh.
And I don't play defense in my franchise mode. I'm a guy who goes to offense only and says, let's go.
Oh, no, I do goal line defense. I pinch my defensive line, and then I also stand in the gap where I think the quarterback is going to sneak.
Yeah, so. I would say quarterback. I probably run a couple hundred quarterback sneaks on 4th and short and or 3rd and short, and I think I've been stopped once. The computer doesn't know how to handle it. Yeah, man. So defensive battle, you come out on top, and this was the last game. Why is he stopping playing? He could just go to another league or start another league or play. I mean, it's his league. Can he play next season?
I mean, he could, but he's just tired of all the complaining that goes on in the league. People not abiding by the rules. It's not necessarily me, but he's just saying in general.
Not necessarily.
I mean, some of the problems is with me, but yeah,
you're the NIL kid who forced Jay Wright into retirement.
Hey, look, he isn't the only person I sent into retirement. I sent Toby into retirement, and now Darius.
Damn, why did Toby have to retire?
Yeah, Toby had a 17-point lead against me. I scored 28 unanswered to start the second half. He quit mid-game, which is something you're not allowed to do, but people were doing that. So that's also one of the frustrations Darius had with the league. So now that he doesn't have to, deal with playing me another year, he can just, be free from it all.
Just go play franchise mode, man.
I don't think he's going to do that.
You think he's just not going to get Madden when it comes out?
Deep down, I think we're going to have another.
It's a lot of time to. I mean, if gaming's been that big of a part, I mean, maybe he'll just go play FIFA or something. I don't know.
They've been doing this for 8-9 years.
I know.
Too good to be true.
You're gonna have to find something to do.
Yeah.
All right. We'll follow up on Darius's well-being at a later date. Anthony, good luck in the next round of the playoffs. All right. When we get back here on the Hoffman Show, Clinton Yates joins us to talk about the Lakers sale, and then we got a little take command for you, a little treat on a Friday, talking about the best offensive lines in the NFC East, and then Brittany Sykes, Mystics guard, joins us at 6 o'clock. It's Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. Always live as well. The free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube, too, where you just saw a nice wave. It was like a royal wave from
pageant
Clint
wave,
Yates.
sir. That's what it's called.
Oh, how am I supposed to know between the royal wave and the pageant wave?
Some of us spend time around beautiful people on a regular basis. Some of us don't. You know.
I don't. I do, just not at pageants. Which seems like I just won that argument. That's Clinton Yates, Clinton and Friends, ESPN Radio, and of course based out in Los Angeles, which brings to what we are going to talk about today, Mr. Yates.
Yeah.
The $10 billion valuation of the Los Angeles Lakers that was the sale earlier this week. Again, they weren't sold for $10 billion. They were sold at a $10 billion valuation, which I think is just an important nerdy differentiator. But ultimately,
Sure.
the point is, the Buss family is no longer going to be the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, which to me is like the headline. And then you can get to like who now does own them and all of that kind of stuff. But when you saw that news, what was your reaction?
That was a jaw dropper. I don't know that I expected to see that before LeBron James exited the building, for lack of a better term, just on a quick short-term timing scale. More longly, I don't know that I expected to see it in the next 10 years, to be honest, simply because of how stubborn to some degree the Buss family had been about things before. And, I got a decent amount of flack over the years from a lot of Los Angeles Lakers sports fans, never mind Los Angeles sports fans, never mind Lakers fans. After explaining to people, you got to understand that from the outside, this mom and pop operation is clearly not sustainable. Like, I don't care about the lore, and I honestly don't necessarily care about a bunch of rings that happened odd years ago. Like, that wasn't obviously going to work for a long time. People would take a lot of offense to that. However, now that they've sold, many of those same people are like, oh, thank God. And it's like, hold on. All right, which one was it? And I think there's an element of that with Lakers fans that is kind of interesting to investigate, because what it means for Los Angeles is one thing, what it means for Lakers fans is another, what it means for NBA fans is a third, and honestly, what it means for sports overall is a fourth, and it's a fascinating concept.
Yeah, that big one is what I want to tackle next week. Like we've talked about having my guy Eben Novy-Williams from Sport to go on, because I think like someone who covers the ownership beat is kind of a good person to talk to about that. The NBA side of it, like if I'm another NBA team, I just went, oh hell.
Yeah.
Like the Lakers lore and their ability to seemingly always get lucky with a generational player. Luka's already in the fold there for that. Now they're going to have the resources and know what to do. Well, I guess the know what to do part is the question. So let me ask you that. Like, Jeannie Buss is still going to be in charge for the foreseeable future. But what does this mean in terms of the infrastructure for the Los Angeles Lakers? Like, if they now have more money, do they actually know what to do with it?
So that's the large question. And here's the difference between what's happening in LA and what happened in Dallas, for example, where that governor in name only thing blew up in Mark Cuban's face. Ramona Shelburne was telling me this on the program yesterday. Jeannie has it in writing that she's going to be a part of this team. Cuban did not. And the reason why that's important is because it means that if nothing else, there is a documentable and verifiable chain of command that if something goes wrong, well, you could identify who the problem is, and thus that can be changed. This was the whole issue with the front office ever since Planet LeBron crashed into Laker Nation. There's always this question: who runs things? LeBron, Clutch, Pelinka, Linda Rambis, of all random people. Like, there were all sorts of names in these circles where you just didn't know who had what amount of influence. Now, Magic Johnson re-entering the fold as a part owner on the Guggenheim Group side is also an interesting element. But I think if nothing else, it organizes your setup in a way that means that you can't just kind of use everybody else to triangulate your excuses off of without ever actually changing anything. And that was the number one feeling that I had about this coming out of it. I was like, oh, thank God, some accountability in the Lakers front office, even if they don't come out of the gate getting all sorts of players, maneuvering around the aprons and all that. But at least we know who's doing what. And I feel like as a fan, that's all you can really ask for.
Clint Yates, ESPN Radio, ESPN LA, with us here on the Hoffman Show. So Mark Walters, the new majority owner, the Guggenheim Group, who you mentioned there, is his group. They own the Dodgers. What have you, as someone who especially spent a lot of time covering baseball and a lot of time there in LA with the Dodgers, like when they took over, what impressed you about what they did? Because they've obviously had tremendous success, including 2 World Series titles.
So a couple of different things. The main thing, though, however, is that they run their operation not just as in cash first, but skill first. And honestly, here's the thing I used to talk about all the time about the Commanders when the old regime was there. It wasn't so much just the losing. It wasn't so much just the boorishness, although all of that had a lot to do with why it was very difficult to look at that team. But you could tell that they had problems keeping talent because nobody wanted to work for a stupid person. And that is half the battle. Once you've got smart people in place, it's easier to get it going because other smart people want to be around. That is his best skill. Getting the people who know what they're doing and getting out of the way and still writing the checks. So as a result, the Dodgers have one of the best developmental programs. They're really good at scouting. They have a culture of accountability that actually matters. Basic adult team building stuff that not every franchise is good at. And so while I don't necessarily believe that directly applies 1-to-1 to the NBA, I do think that overall you've got a track record you can trust. 12 years, 12 playoff appearances, 4 World Series appearances, 2 wins. Sorry, that's about as good as it gets. Whether or not their titles on the division should have all turned into World Series or not is a different matter. There's a baseline of production there that I think you've got to trust as a sports fan regarding how that's going to apply to the NBA as well.
So when you look at the Lakers org right now, like Pelinka to me is the guy that kind of stands out where I'm like, I wonder how long you're going to have your job here.
Yeah.
I mean, now it should be said, Walter was a minority partner in the Lakers over the past bunch of years. He's had a 20% stake in the team. So like nothing is going to be new to him. But you mentioned getting the right people involved. Pelinka, for those that don't know, the current general manager of the Lakers was a former agent, which is actually not uncommon in the NBA. Bob Myers is the greatest team builder, arguably the last 2 decades. Like he was an agent before he took the GM and then ultimately president job of Golden State. And now somehow he sits on that desk. Anyway, I don't want to get you in trouble with
Leon Rose does it for the Knicks too. Yeah.
Leon Rose, former agent. But he was Kobe Bryant's agent, and he was very tight with the Buss family, and that's kind of how he got the job. Now, he also engineered the Luka trade to the extent that that wasn't engineered by the Dallas side of it. And there are some certain wins for him, but is Pelinka, like, as you've taken calls and you've had experts on this week and heard people talk about it, do you think that Pelinka has all of a sudden a much shorter lease?
Well, there's a couple things about that. Number one, when they first took over the Dodgers, they kept Ned Colletti for like a good 2 seasons, and it wasn't just in face value. I don't think anybody is necessarily going to walk straight out of the door. However, the difference now is that the entire balance of power is completely different in this regard. When LeBron got there, he was bigger than the Lakers. Now, look at the LA power rankings in sports. LeBron is not bigger than the Lakers now, not with Luka there. He's not bigger than Luka as a player, technically. The Dodgers are a bigger deal than the Lakers. Shohei Ohtani is a 10 times bigger deal locally than all of these things. LeBron is like 5th on the power rankings in LA alone at this point. And there's an argument that if that's not how he wants to move anymore, because he doesn't have the same sort of pull he does in the franchise, not to say that it's untoward, it's just not a position he's used to being in. And he says, you know what? Maybe I'll just go somewhere else. If we're talking about the post-LeBron era in LA anyway, I don't necessarily know that it just means he's going to stay there because all of a sudden they're going to get all these other guys around him. There's a shift in how all of this works that I think is fascinating overall about what's going to happen. So do I think a Pelinka's job might be on the line? Sure. But I also think there's a whole host of other things that have to do with these interpersonal relationships that are going to matter for these next 2 years regarding how they build their roster, never mind who they keep in their front office.
Clint Yates with us on the Hoffman Show for his Friday visit. So I saw the statements from Luka saying, and the reporting that was like, yeah, he got a heads up by a couple minutes. And Luka's statement was like, I'm thrilled with this. I'm very excited. I'm excited to still work with Genie. I'm excited about everything.
Right.
What's the LeBron side of this? Like he does have a player option that he could be gone this summer if he wanted to be.
He could be gone in a week, dog. What I'm saying is the lack of wording is the wording. I ain't heard nothing from LeBron. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not meaning to say I'm not trying to stir up controversy, not by any stretch of the imagination, but LeBron's out here on every other podcast in America talking about all these programs, talking about what's going on in the finals. It just seems interesting that there has yet to be a buy-in right now. And arguably that's above board. It might be more complicated than that. Lord knows what Rich Paul has going on. This might actually be a legitimate negotiation regarding, well, what are we doing? How is this going to work with the relationship that we had? Because they got a lot of clutch players as well. I don't always think everybody's got to rush into decisions just for the sake of media's timelines. Don't get me wrong. But silence from LeBron, when LeBron is not a silent guy, I think tells you all you need to know right now about the fact that there is a decision being made, whatever it may be, that requires some thinking. And that in itself is fascinating because I'll tell you this. There are a lot of Lakers fans who wouldn't mind seeing LeBron walk away. Straight up. You know what I mean? They feel that he's taken up a lot of airspace, did not necessarily accrue himself to the LA market the way that he could have and kind of big time them for a while. I don't know that I agree with that. I think there's an element of purple and gold fans just being butthurt about that in general, but there is something there. There is some there regarding his status with the Lakers.
Interesting. We'll continue to follow that. I mean, shoot, this time next week will be after the draft, which means we're the 30th, I think, or June 30th. That night is when free agency opens. So we'll be 4 days from that. So maybe we'll know more a week from now. We'll talk to Clinton then. Yates, look forward to. In fact, wait, hold on. Is there a chance that
there's a chance?
There's a chance. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Chance. Don't say it. There's a chance.
There's a chance that the nature of this conversation is different next week.
There's also a chance that the Knicks have a head coach next week too.
You know, there's a chance I win the lottery. The show doesn't exist next week. That's Clinton Yates, everybody, with us here on the Hoffman Show on a Friday.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.
45 minutes from now, we preview Game 7 of the NBA Finals. It's Friday here on the Hoffman Show, and about a little football treat. Who's got the best line in the NFC East as an offensive line? That was one of what we debated, or one of the topics we debated on Take Command this week. And here's Logan and I having that debate for your ears right now. Take Command Podcast, NFC East Divisional Position Rankings Edition. We've got to come up with a better name. That's Logan. I'm Craig. Let's take a look now at the second most important part of an offense, Logan. No, not the skill positions. It's the offensive line. So real quick, just to run it down the way ESPN.com has the depth charts right now. The Commanders across the front from left to right. Tunsil, Allegretti, Biotish, Cosme, asterisk. Connerly, obviously Cosme, as everyone listening to this podcast probably knows, is out for a while with that torn ACL. It's to be some combination of Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti, and Brandon Coleman. I don't know why ESPN changed. They used to have it with Coleman at left guard, but it's going to be Tunsil, Coleman, Biotish, Allegretti, Wiley, or Nate Erbig, and then Josh Connerly at right tackle. For Philadelphia, Mailata at left tackle, Dickerson, Juergens, that's all the same. Tyler Steen currently listed as the right guard as the starter, replacing Mekhi Becton, who left in free agency, and then Lane Johnson, the future Hall of Famer. The Cowboys, Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, Terrence Steele. 3 Tylers along your offensive line. Gotta love it. And then the Giants have Andrew Thomas, John Runyon Jr., John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Eluemunor. That's how the O-lines stack up. Philly, congrats. You win again.
Yeah, and I think the one kind of, hole, the gap in the armor here is probably that right guard spot with Tyler Steen, who I think has played well when he's been called upon, but definitely not as well as Mekhi Becton played last year. And I think the thing about them, Philly, is they always seem to just accrue and accumulate depth really well. Like Matt Pryor, he played left tackle for, I want to say the Colts last season, was fine. But to me, he's always been a guard. He's like 6'8", he's like 370. He's a massive, massive human being. And they just find these dudes. And so if Tyler Steen's not playing well, here's a guy that's played a lot. He's played in Philly before.
They also
Miles
traded
Hilton,
for Kenyon Green, who played a ton of minutes for Houston.
Former first-round pick who was a disaster in Houston. But I think the talent there, in conjunction with the offensive line coach, you're like, well, maybe this thing turns around. And then Miles Hilton, a guy they drafted in the 5th round for tackle out of Michigan, I think would be an excellent fill-in for guard. He's long, he's big, he's heavy, he's strong, he's well coached, he's got a tremendous pedigree. So
by the way, early reports on Hinton are that people are like, oh my God, this is Mailata all over again. Like the way he moves is sick.
So it was so funny. And I'm not gonna the draft season's funny to me, right? It's just a funny time of year for me. So I remember going through guys and I was just like, let's check out this Miles Hilton guy. And he was on nobody's radar. No one was talking about him. And I was like, this dude's a starting, guard tackle in the NFL right now. And why are we not talking about him in the 3rd or 4th round? And of course, Philly ends up with him. So you're like, right, he's going to go into a great system, a great environment, can develop for a year. So whatever. But the point is not only do they have an issue at right guard potentially, and I like Tyler Steen. I liked him coming out of Alabama a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They have contingencies if it doesn't go well. So that's why they're number one. And and as long as Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata are there, they're going to be probably number one for the foreseeable future. I mean, Landon Dickerson is a borderline Pro Bowl guard. What are we talking about here?
And they have Jeff Stoutland as the O-line coach. All right. Who's 2? Did Washington do enough to become the second best O-line in the division?
I was just looking through this, and I think yes. We got to tread softly here, and I'm going to tell you why. So obviously, Laramie Tunsil, I think now is probably in contention for a conversation anyway about the best left tackle in the division, right? So that's awesome. Now you go Mailata, you go Andrews up in New York, whatever you want to do there, but he's close, right? So then you say, if Brandon Coleman plays the way I think he can at left guard, man, that's going to be a really interesting dynamic. Tyler Biotish is, in my opinion, one of the best centers in the division. Cosme is one of the best guards in the division when healthy. Obviously, he's hurt right now, but Wiley at guard, I love that as well in terms of depth we've talked about. And then where's Connerly at is the $1 million question for me. So the thing is, from a talent standpoint, you're like, yeah, let's get this thing cooking. The problem is Brandon Coleman's playing a new position, right? Your starting right guard is hurt. And then you've got a rookie starting at right tackle. So how do you feel about that? Obviously, on paper, when you look at their 40s and watch their arm length and how they move in space and watch them do all the run blocking stuff they do in training camp, you're like, man, this is going to be the second best group in football. But you get a guy who's never played NFL football before and a guy who's playing a new position and then a backup playing right. So that's where I'd say, like, on paper, I'm like, absolutely, hell yes.
Yeah.
But there are some question marks for sure.
Is Dallas the team that they are competing with? Are the Giants just sitting at the bottom of another offensive ranking here? Or did they do enough bringing in a guy like Van Roten, getting some upgrades with Runyon? Like, did they do enough to at least get in the conversation here?
So Dallas to me is really interesting, and I'll tell you why. So obviously you got Terrence Steele, right, who has been banged up and hasn't quite looked like the guy that they paid, right? So where is he at? Like, every year I watch him, I'm like, man, it looks like he's fine, but like, where is he at? You know what I'm saying? Right now he's a serviceable starting right tackle. You're starting Tyler Booker at right guard, who is a rookie. And what was my concern about the Commanders' offensive line is that he's a rookie. You're starting Cooper Beebe at center, who's a second-year player. Again, there's some developmental curve there. Tyler Smith, I think, is maybe the best guard in the division, so we'll give him that. And then Tyler Guyton, who struggled tremendously at points last year, like really, really struggled. So to me, I kind of say to myself, 3 of those spots are not great, in terms of confidence going, in terms of young players going into year 2. So in one case, it's a rookie. Like, that just seems tough to me. And then when you look at New York, just by comparison, I think New York is maybe a little bit more consistent. So like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Craig, but the way I look at it is like, Jermaine Eluemunor, I think, is a good starting right player. And I personally think he's better than Terrence Steele right now at this point in his career, right?
Yeah.
Greg Van Roten, I think, is fine. Like, he's kind of a wash, but he has the experience on his side, and I think he's going to be better than Tyler Booker, right? John Michael Schmidt is in his 3rd year, I want to say, maybe 4th year, and has struggled. But is there a noticeable difference between him and Cooper Beebe? I would say probably not at this point. John Runyon is fine. He's a get-on-base kind of guard. I think they could definitely get better there, but he's a get-on-base kind of guy. Then you maybe have one of the better tackles in the division, Andrew Thomas. So, I don't know. That feels on paper like a more consistent group than Dallas. There's less question marks to me in this group. And with an offensive line, I think you want consistency. You want guys that have done it. Guys that have experience. And I'm not sure Dallas has that.
So let me help you parse through your thoughts here with a question. Are we not giving Dallas's floor enough credit because New York's ceiling is lower? In other words, are we looking at New York and being like, there's not a lot of variance here. We think they're fine, and at best, they're a little better than fine. Versus Dallas, where it's like, at worst, what are you? At your best, you're actually really good. Like, if Guyton clicks, if some of these guys that have higher ceilings hit their ceiling, there's a wider gap of possibilities. But if we compare floor to floor, is Dallas's significantly lower than New York's? Because if so, then we have a conversation. If not, then Dallas is obviously the correct answer with a potential to go even above Washington, potentially.
I think so. And I think I'll tell you why. Like, Tyler Guyton at points last year was like non-playable. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't, and everyone knew he was going to be a developmental player, right? He's got everything you're looking for, but he's developmental, right? So there were times where he was benched. He's been multiple times in the course of the season because guys are just running around him, or he can't handle a bull rusher. He's got too many holding calls. He's got a false start, right? And so Tyler Booker, again, was one of the more consistent prospects from a mentality standpoint. But when you look at him, he ran like I want to say it was like a 5.4 40-yard dash.
Yeah,
his movement skills weren't good. Not very explosive. And usually those guys have a hard time in the NFL. I think Tyler Booker's going to be okay because of the mental wiring. Yeah, but I think the lack of elite athleticism would lead me to believe that he's going to be in for a tough year. So I do think there's a world where the bottom just falls out of this thing, right? Like Cooper Beebe next to Tyler Booker, like, you're losing that support of Zach Martin to kind of help you get on the same page all the time. Like, again, Tyler Smith is a beast. Don't get me wrong, but there's just 3 young variables in there that could collapse on themselves. And then all of a sudden you're just taking away, maybe this is the 25th and below group in the NFL.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. And you're like, oh, that's not very good.
Obviously. The good news is for them that Dak is one of the best at the line of scrimmage quarterbacks in the league. Like, his mental processing helps, but it's different having that dude back in the shotgun versus Zach Martin right next to you. He's a young player, or opposite you at the other guard spot, being able to do what he can do. All right. So if that's the case, then our rankings would go Philly, Washington, New York, Dallas.
I mean, and maybe I'm being too hard on Washington or too hard on Dallas, excuse me, but it just feels like there's too many. yes, the ceiling is very high with that group. But I also feel like there's a ton of question marks about some of those pieces. And I like Tyler Booker, but again, I'm also aware.
To me,
of
it's also an infrastructure thing, right? It's like, what is Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach, OC, like what they don't have the coaching staff they used to there.
And that's a good point.
And also, what's the play calling going to look like? Because that's another thing. It's like, in theory, I think they want to push the ball down the field vertically. Like, that's why you go get George Pickens. That takes time. Is that going to wind up being a huge issue for this offensive line?
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is you bring up a great point. Like, are they going to, which situation is the best for them? So I would say Jaden Daniels, because how quickly gets the ball out of his hand, is probably one of the better situations, better quarterbacks to be blocking for. You're not going to give up a lot of sacks, not going to give up a lot of pressures. Dak holds the ball a little bit, not as much as Russell Wilson. So even though on paper that offensive line is probably fine, like statistically, are they going to come across as being worse because they've got a rookie quarterback, they've got a guy who holds the ball a lot, and they've got Jameis Winston who could potentially be playing back there. And to me, none of those sound like great people to elevate that group.
Yeah.
So maybe on paper they end up being worse, or at the end of the season they end up being worse because of the quarterback situation. But I think on paper, I'm the most leery of the Dallas one.
All right, so for the graphic, if you will, it is Philadelphia, Washington, New York, Dallas. All right, if you want to hear the rest of our NFC East divisional position rankings on the offensive side, check out Take Command this weekend when you get a moment. We did quarterbacks, so we'll tell you Jaden did finish atop, and we had quite the discussion about 2 versus 3. Then skill positions as well. We did running backs and receivers and tight ends together. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. We'll do defense, and we have some great mailbag questions for our shows next week. All right, when we get back, Mystic Scarred, Brittany Sykes. the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. And we got Brittany Sykes with us, of course, Washington Mystics guard. Make sure you head to WNBA.com and vote for her for the All-Star team because she is having a phenomenal season and deserves it. Slim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Glad to be back.
So when we last spoke, it was media day, and we had a fun conversation about how Sydney Johnson basically kind of slid to you like, hey, this leadership thing, you're going to be a big part of it. So, Slim, how's leadership going for you this year?
I don't have any gray hairs, so that helps. It's been pretty good. It's been an eye-opening experience. It's one of those things where, like, you don't realize what you asked for until you got it. And I'm like, okay, this is a part of leadership where I didn't ask for it, but it comes with it.
Do you have a specific example of something where, like, you didn't know what you didn't know and you've learned, like, oh, okay, now I know how to manage that thing?
Yeah, when a fan for myself, I still got to be able to be a presence for my team. Like, that was one where I was like, dang, I can't look around and be like, all right, you got him now. You can talk to him. It's like, nah, Slim, you still got to figure out a way to be present and understand that, like, just because things aren't going good for you, like, you still have to act as if they are, kind of thing. Like, you can be present, but then, like, not thinking about it and not letting your actions follow suit to what your mind is saying.
What's it meant to you having Stephanie Dolson alongside in that role? We all saw the footage after the New York game where she got everybody together and was like, hey, like, this was an improvement. I talked to Kiki about that when she was on the show last week, and she kind of told us what Steph said. But what's it been like to have those conversations with her and have her as a partner in that player-led leadership?
Oh, man, it's been great. If you think about it, Steph is one of maybe I don't know how many others in our team, but, like, Steph is one of the first people that you think about in the sense of just championship experience and just being on those teams that have went and made championship runs, And so to have that type of insight and leadership from her has been really clutch. And having her just make sure we understand the bigger picture and, like, what is now and what we're going for, kind of thing.
Brittany Sykes with us, Washington Mystics guard here on the Hoffman Show. Of course, they will play the Atlanta Dream Friday night. That game you won't be able to hear on the Team 980 as it's an ION national TV game, but Sunday, 3 o'clock back home. It's almost sold out. Basically, it is sold out. You can get resale tickets. They're very expensive for the game against the Dallas Wings with Beckers and Enrique and all them coming to town. Slim, the other thing we talked about preseason that's going to be a newer thing for you this year and has been is the scoring load, being a featured primary offensive piece. You had 32 in the win the other night against Chicago. You're averaging over 20 a game. How has that been? Like, obviously the numbers are there, but how has it been to experience that night in, night out, what that means to be a primary scoring option?
It's crazy. I have to add on to that because it's not like I'm just a primary scoring option. I'm a primary scoring option. And I go to guard the primary option on the other team.
Right.
So I feel like the way I have to produce on both ends of the floor and still have to produce on the offensive and how I have to produce on the offensive end, like, I don't know if that gets talked about enough.
Yeah.
Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's like your best player is not coming to guard me. I am.
Right. Right. And I think that's an interesting point, too, because I think it also goes into one of the other things that's been part of the up and down nature of your season so far as a team is, like, you guys are relying on rookies to score, which is not a thing you're supposed to do in the W. And I was going to ask you about Sony and Kiki here in a second, but kind of knowing that pressure is on, is that something you are I guess the question I would ask them is, like, have you adjusted to that? The idea that the ball is running through you. The defensive part is not new, but then you get back down in offense, maybe you used to be able to run to the corner and catch your breath. Now it's like, right, I gotta go off another ball screen and come up with this split action and do whatever else you're doing.
Yeah, no, it took some time. It was a thing. It's called bucket shape that I call it. So, like, in the beginning of the season, I got a little winded, like you go and you score, you go and you try to score, even if it's a pass or a fail, then you got to go guard, and then you got to come back. And the one moment you want to take a break in the corner, they're shoving it down your arm. They go, make another basket. So it was like a thing again in bucket shape. And once you get that rhythm, you want to stay in it. So for me, it was just realizing, like, okay, once I started to figure out where my spots were, how to score in the offense, it became easier. Like, I can conserve energy and, like, expel it in a smarter way.
That's interesting. Brittany Sykes with us here on the Hoffman Show. So I mentioned you had that 32-point, 5 assists, 3 steal outing in the win over Chicago on Tuesday. But that first quarter was Wasn't great. Take us inside the huddle. Take us inside how you guys flipped that around. What was said, what was done, what adjustments happened to be able to slowly but surely get back in it to where you guys even led comfortably by the end of the fourth.
Yeah, I just think it was one of those things of just staying steadfast in our defense, and understanding that it was our defense that was causing the dysfunction. Because on our offensive end, we were flowing, but in that first half, we weren't really, passing the ball like we did in the second half. Just really trusting that, the next pass will come if we get off the ball. And honestly, part of that was me. Like, I had to realize that Chicago was sinking in really deep, and I just had to trust the work that we worked on when it was getting in the paint and driving and swinging, or, just driving and kicking over flares and things like that. Like, just genuinely just understanding that this team is collapsing because we're so great at getting in the paint. Teams are going to start to force us to spray it out and trust that our shot is going to fall.
And you hit a bunch of them. Sony hit a bunch. Others kept going. When you talk about the rookies, we just touched on it, but like, rookies aren't supposed to be good in the WNBA. The league's too hard.
Yeah.
Like, do you tell them like, hey, you're not supposed to be this good? You just you be like, hey guys, no one tell them they're supposed to be this good. Like, what's it been like for you to experience that up close?
No, man, I don't think that's the case. I think you bring them in, and obviously they're going to lack experience, but what better experience to get than to just go into the fire and figure it out? I think there's a plus to rookies being able to come in and score the way they do, because yes, they might get, a little lost in the offense, so they might, get out, the physicality is different, so they might get out muscled, right? But there's still no scout or scheme to them. So for me, I just tell them go hoop. Like, I literally tell Kiki and Sonny, like, go hoop, go play how you normally play, and then the adjustments will come from you just trying to flow, because they got to think, we're not used to seeing them. Our bodies are not used to their patterns of movement. You get in this league long enough, you get to year 9, I might not have to look at a scout as hard as they would, because people are creatures of habit. So people have the same tendencies over the years, because also in our league, it is very few that get better. And there's many that stay in a pack and stay in that lane. They stay in their lane and they dominate in their lane. But then there's those few that get better every single year, or you see them in the trajectory that they're getting better every single year. So it's like, for rookies, go hoop. Who says that you can't be a starter? Who says that you can't do what you do? Then Candace win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same month? Yeah. Or in the same season? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what stipulations are we putting to what rookies can do and what they can do? One of them came in and got MVP, of the league.
Yeah, it's really impressive, this latest group of young players, how they're able to come in and the skill level. I think it obviously, this is a longer conversation for a different time, but the investment of women's basketball at the youth levels, the players are just better when they get to the league now, which is a great thing. Atlanta is the opponent Friday night. Obviously, y'all got them at the beginning of the season. They got you pretty good in the last matchup. What's the talk about going into this game, the adjustments that need to be made as you face them for the third time already as we're here in late June?
Honestly, just looking to win the series. It's tied 1-1. Obviously, just going in, we're looking at film and just seeing what we need to do. They're really, really shooting the ball really well and at a high volume. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to key in on, is just making sure we guard the three-point line, and then we're not trading threes for twos.
Brittany Sykes with us here on the Hoffman Show. Again, 7:30 is the tip Friday night, tonight against the Atlanta Dream, and then Sunday, 3 o'clock at ESA, now Care First Arena, against the Dallas Wings. That game you can hear here on the Team 980. Slim, always great to catch up. Appreciate it, and I'll see you at the arena soon.
All right, man. Can't wait.
Hey, this is DA, and you're listening to the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.
980, final 40 minutes here on a Friday. Anthony Haney, super producer alongside me, Craig Hoffman. He's jamming out, Mr. Brightside, the Killers.
One day,
one of the
you're
great
going to sing the lyrics to that song, Craig. One day.
What? We played the non-instrumental version. I didn't have to sing that time.
Hey, look. Say no more. Say no more. That is noted.
I didn't say that I would if you played the instrumental version in the future. I'm just saying there's definitely no need for me, even if it was, pun intended, killing you. All right, weekend preview time. And Anthony, well, you look at that. This week it's brought to you by nobody.
No way.
How did that happen?
You tell me.
I can't. I got a better chance of telling you the words of Mr. Brightside than I do explaining that. It's our weekend preview brought to you by nobody. Coming up in 9 minutes, we will preview Game 7 of the NBA Finals, including a quick rundown of the recent history of Game 7s and why the Pacers better hope this one doesn't follow the script of recent Game 7s. But let's see. What do we got this weekend? We got the Nationals, who finally broke their losing streak, Anthony. It took extra innings against the Rockies the other night, but yesterday, but they finally won. Did you see the quote from James Wood after the game?
I didn't see the quote, but he delivered when we needed him the most.
He sure did. He sure did. Walk off. Love that. Excellent work out of the youngster. But the young Nat star basically was like, the Rockies they pitched amazing. They hit amazing. Like they're playing better than they have like all year. And it's like, were they or do y'all stink? And that is going to be a question answered probably definitively because you're going to play the Los Angeles Dodgers this weekend, who are, what's the word I'm looking for, Anthony? Good.
Really good.
Yeah, good. I was going to say really good, but then I remembered I said the word I was looking for. So, good. So, Shohei Ohtani and company hosting the Nats this weekend. 10-10 is your first pitch tonight. And actually, I want to check something real quick because now Ohtani's been back on the mound a little bit. I don't know whether we'll see him in this series, and it's very, very limited. They're just going to try to work him in so that he's ready for the postseason. But tonight, I mean, got a good one tonight. It's Mackenzie Gore, the Nats ace, taking on Shohei Ohtani, or not Ohtani, Clayton Kershaw. So the old lefty, Wiley, still around. He's 2-0 on the year with a 3.25 ERA, just 27 innings pitched. Gore 3-6, but a 2.89 ERA and a 1.15 whip, which is very, very good. So he just hasn't gotten a lot of support this year.
That's a brutal stretch of games, Craig. They just played 4 straight games against the Rockies, and now you got to fly cross country and play the Dodgers, dude, today.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
that's Major League Baseball, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. And by the way, Ohtani is, at least per ESPN.com, Ohtani is scheduled to pitch on Sunday.
Uh-oh.
So 4:10 first pitch Eastern time on Sunday, and Ohtani might be out there on the mound for the Dodgers. Okay, what else we got this weekend? The Mystics have a game tonight. We just talked to Brittany Sykes about it. Slim and company are down in Atlanta. And then, man, Sunday, tickets are, they are hard to get.
Man.
Cheapest ticket I saw the other day was $170, I believe.
It?
Is the get-in price for Sunday's matchup against Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings. So it does seem like people are paying a bit of attention when young Miss Beckers comes to town.
Damn, 170 is crazy.
You think we get Princess AZ coming to watch too?
She'll definitely be in attendance.
Who else? Like, what other celebrities do we think we see? Like, is Jaden coming? I don't know if Jaden's here right now.
Tiafoe's coming, probably.
Yeah, Francis. Although it depends on if he's playing. I don't know. I forgot to check how the tennis is going this week and which tournaments
we'll see some Wizards players.
Yeah, you'll definitely see some Wizards players. By the way, the City Open, I think we're going to have Ein back on soon. But the City Open, they just got a bunch of more, like, top players. The lineup they have coming in D.C. this year is sick. Like, Ein has done such a good job with that tournament. Yeah, so the Mystics, tough one tonight. Atlanta's playing really well, dude. They obviously had the huge bummer, that preseason game against the Mystics that we were at, where Jordan Canada goes down early. Their starting point guard, who was supposed to be, and then she's out for the year. And lo and behold, they've been able to ride that wave. They've had some players step up. Brittany Griner in her first year in Atlanta is playing great.
Tahina Pow is playing well. She's having career high after career high, and it's just like, man.
Yeah, why did she fall in the draft? I don't
understand it. Shooting translates, man. She's a shooter.
Shooting translates. She was a top 10 projected pick all year, and then all of a sudden, she falls to Atlanta in the second round, and it's like, what? I don't know. I mean, like, the Mystics are quite happy with their picks, and there's plenty of the rookies that are playing pretty well, but like Pow, I never got why she was a first rounder. But lo and behold, she's balling for Atlanta. So Mystics will have to deal with her tonight with Beckers, Agumbawale, and company on Sunday. Spirit are out west this week as well. They forgot their offense last time when they got on the plane out to Portland, and hopefully they brought it this time. We'll see if Ashley Hatch is back available. Also, congrats to Croy Bethune and Tara McKeown on getting called up to the U.S. Women's National Team for the friendlies that are coming up against Ireland and Canada. The Canada game, which will also include the Spirit's Gabby Carl on the Canadian side, will be at Audi Field on July 2nd. So that's fun. And also congrats to McKenna Morris, who's been on with us a ton. The Spirit defender / midfielder / forward winger. We're just going to call McKenna a winger. Who's also a Germantown native, so a hometown kid. She just got called in again to the U23s for the Spirit or for the U.S. Women's National Team. So fun for that. But as for this will be the final weekend of NWSL action, Anthony, which I know that you know. Final weekend of NWSL action before the international break, and then that is immediately followed by the NWSL summer break. So we're gonna have a long time without soccer, and I'm gonna be sad about it.
We still have to pick a game where we go to.
Yeah, in August we can go.
Alex, say no more, man. Say no more.
They've got a decent stack of home games on the back half of the season, so we'll get that all squared away. All right, that's our weekend preview. Unless Anthony, you have a quick boxing minute.
No, I don't really have anything to add boxing wise. Well, I will add this: Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. They had their first press conference for their September 13th bout. I'm so excited for that, Craig. The two best of this era, this new era that we're in now, going to be squaring off in September. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So we'll get to that when we get to that. When it happens, we'll have our full preview from Boxing Insider, or at least Boxing Outsider who likes boxing, Anthony Haney. All right, when we get back, you'd imagine like there's a lot of trends about Game 7s, home teams playing well because they're probably the better team, all that kind of stuff. But there's one trend that has been true for a lot of recent Game 7s that the Indiana Pacers need to hope isn't true on Sunday night. I'll tell you what it is next on the Team 980. Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube, too, at the Team 980. Game 7. I've been told, Anthony, those are the best 2 words in sports. Game 7. We get one on Sunday night. 8 o'clock is the scheduled, it's the broadcast tip time, so probably sometime around like 8:15 when it actually tips off. But Pacers and Thunder, after the Thunder just get blasted in Game 6 in Indianapolis, now back to OKC for Game 7. Anthony, would you like a recent history of Game 7s in the NBA Finals?
I mean, the most recent is 2016.
That is correct.
I couldn't tell you one before that.
I can give you all the way back, courtesy of this article that I'm looking at right now on NBA.com, to 1984. So this will be about 6 or 7 of them. But
okay,
real quick. And shout out to, let's give the proper credit here, Mike Barner, who wrote this. And I'm reading this off NBA.com. So Cavs, Warriors 2016. Obviously, the Cavs win. LeBron has a triple-double, 27, 11, and 11, overcoming an unbelievable game from Draymond Green, 32, 15, and 9. Of course, if Draymond hadn't punched LeBron in the then perhaps there isn't a need for a Game 7, and the Warriors probably, finish off that season. Alas, Draymond did. He still hasn't learned his lesson from that, despite how great he is. But that flailing the body still does it, and ultimately the Cavs win behind a LeBron-powered triple-double, and, of course, that shot from Kyrie Irving. Spurs Heat 2013, another outstanding LeBron game. This comes the game after the Ray Allen shot. LeBron 37 and 12 in 45 minutes as the Heat defeat the Spurs. D-Wade also had 23 and 10 as LeBron fan Anthony pounds his chest. Celtics and Lakers in 2010. This was a bizarre game, as you'll remember. Kobe shot the ball absolutely terribly, but actually played pretty well. He had 15 rebounds. Of course, had the big Ron Artest Meta World Peace shot in that one as well. He thanked his therapist after, his psychiatrist. Pau Gasol also had 19 and 18. Lakers win 4-3. Pistons and Spurs. That was a bloodbath of a series in 2005. Game 4, when the Pistons scored 102, was the only game in that series that either team scored over 100. But the Spurs win Game 7, 81-74. 81-74. Game 7 of an NBA Finals in 2005. Knicks Rockets in 94. Hakeem Olajuwon, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. Rockets win 88. James Worthy went bonkers in Game 7, 36, 16, and 10. Also had 2 steals. Magic, 19 and 14 assists. Lakers win. And then Lakers Celtics in 84. Have a big game from Larry Bird, 2012 and 2 steals. Robert Parrish, 14 points, 16 rebounds. Cedric Maxwell, a good game as well. Celtics win 4-3. Just of note, the next most recent game, that was Washington's championship 1978 season. Bullets defeat the Supersonics 4-3. So, Anthony, what is a common thread amongst all of those Game 7s? To me, what stands out, especially as you look at some of the, not just the stats, but the numbers. These games are decided by and large by the stars. And sometimes you have, in recent Wizards history, Game 7, not obviously in the finals, but the Kelly Olynyk game. Ugh.
That hurt so bad, bro.
Sorry to bring that up. I know that that was a side swipe that nobody was prepared for. I should have said, Wizards fans, hold your breath. But let's be honest. You guys have been through more pain than me bringing that up. You saw the game when it happened back in 2016. So you got the Kelly Olynyk game. So occasionally you have games like that where a star or a non-star has a big game and somebody goes 10 for 12 and all of a sudden it's like, well, shoot, that guy just won them an NBA title. But in Game 7 of the finals, what tends to happen is rotation shorten and the stars play. And they play a ton of minutes and they have a huge impact. And so if I'm Shea, I'm probably looking at Mark Daigneault and I'm like, hey, man, I know our depth has been kind of our strength, but like, I'm playing 45 minutes. I might play 48 minutes. If I'm Jalen Williams and I seem to be unbreakable, I'm trying to play 48 minutes in this game. And so I think why I say the Pacers should be concerned is, one, they don't have a star that's built like that. Now, Halliburton obviously has had a 40-point game in these playoffs and can do that, but can he right now? Can he take on a larger minute load? And is he built to score in his current athletic state with that calf strain? I don't know. I wouldn't want to have to count on it. And then you have guys like Siakam. Siakam's great. He can score 30. I don't want him gunning for 40 in the way that I'd let LeBron control a finals game, right, if I'm the 2016 Cavs. So if you're OKC, you've got Shea. He's the MVP of the league. He got that MVP because he averaged over 30 a game. He's built to do that. If he pressed too much in Game 6, so if I'm Mark Daigneault, I'm careful about what I'm telling him. But if he gets going, I'm like, eat, Shea, eat. Like, let's go score 50. Go close out the finals like Giannis did in the Game 6 in 2021 where he had 50 points to win a finals game. Like, if that is how this goes down, advantage Oklahoma City. And that would be my concern. Now, this Indiana team, as we talked about at the top of the show, is one of the most uniquely built finals teams we've ever seen. Their depth and their balance is crazy. They've had 7 different guys, I think, score 20 in a game, with topping that in Game 6. So if I'm Indiana, and you're OKC trying to do that, I'm trying to run you off the floor. I'm going to make you so tired you can't play that many minutes. But at the same time, like if it's like, hey, we're going to dig deeper than we've ever dug before because it's Game 7 of the finals, this is it, and the stars go to the well, the stars here favor the Thunder, and that is traditionally, not that anything about this series is traditional, but traditionally been what decides a Game 7.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you. My thing is, last game, or Game 6, Shea, I think Shea had a solid game. Didn't play that much in the fourth, but he still ended up with 21. But his supporting cast, like, they did absolutely nothing. I think you need something out of the supporting cast if the Thunder are going to get the job done. I think when it comes to, like, the Pacers, again, like, they have so many players that can contribute. They don't necessarily need somebody to go out there and get 30. But I think for the Thunder, they necessarily need their supporting cast to go out there and contribute to the game. And they've done that at home. And that's why I think the Thunder are probably going to emerge victoriously in the game, because the supporting cast just plays that much better when they're at home. Aaron Wiggins shoots the ball a ton better. Chet Holmgren seems to, be who he is and who he's been throughout the season when he's at home. Who else do they have? Cason Wallace. He plays, solid. Yeah. Lou Dort, his three. So
he's been raining.
I think whatever it is, the crowd that's down there, the atmosphere, the rims, maybe it's the water that they, shower with before they come out.
Your own bed.
I don't know what it is, Craig.
Yeah.
But they get up for their home games, and they've done a great job at home in the playoffs. They've gone 10-2. I think they make it 11-2, and they go out there and get the job done. The supporting cast will be huge. Shea's going to go out there. He's going to get his 35. I have no doubt he's going to do what,
the thing is, though, like, at what cost, right? Because he had 21 the other night, or last night in that loss. He also had 2 assists. Like, think of Game 5 when he was great. 10 assists. Yeah. He had 8 turnovers last night. 8.
Yeah. And guess what, Craig? He's going to bounce back. I think, again, when they've lost games, when, he's had a bad game, the thing about them, it's never been like 2 games in a row where, we've seen that. He usually bounces back and explodes. So that's exactly what I'm expecting to see out of him. Jalen Williams, when he struggled, guess what he did? He didn't have, game after game where he was struggling. He came back and bounced back. Same with Chet Holmgren. He's not going out there and putting up 4 points.
Yeah, they haven't lost back-to-back games in this entire postseason. It'd be a pretty bad time to do it. In so many ways, this series has just come down to turnovers, like who takes care of the basketball. And my big question is on the has someone figured something out bit is, has Indiana learned how to play at Oklahoma City's frenetic pace defensively? And if they, because that's the magic of Indiana, right, is they move the ball, but they don't turn it over. They don't have the same approach as like the Knicks, who are a traditionally low turnover team, where they don't pass. And it's like, well, even if Jalen gets off a bad shot, like, we'll just put the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands and let him cook. But we're not going to whip it around and put the ball out there in passing lanes for people to pick off. Indiana does, except for they're so good at it that you can't get your hands on the ball. Oklahoma City more or less did for the first 5 games of the series. They still had a pretty high turnovers numbers. I mean, even in game 1, obviously they turned the ball over nonstop in the first half, settled it down in the second half, and somehow came back and won that game on the Halliburton shot with .3. Last night, they were still in single-digit turnovers deep into the fourth quarter. They only finished with 10. McConnell was the only player that had multiple turnovers last night. Think of all the different guys that they have making decisions, passing, cutting, moving, passing while moving. All the different guys they have touch it. All the different guys they have handle it. Miles Turner is a guy who will drive it from the center position. Not a single double turnover game for anybody but TJ McConnell. All their starters had 1. Toppin had 1. And then McConnell had 3. And then Johnny Furphy had 1 too to make it 10. But yeah, man, like if Indiana can repeat that, I think Indiana's winning the finals. I doubt they can. And if I am Oklahoma City, like my message, if I'm Dagnall, is like I'll figure out offense in the game. I want my team to come out as heat-seeking missile destroyers on defense. I don't care if we pick up 5 fouls in the first minute of the game. Like we are playing so hard defensively. We are channeling defensively just hellion behavior. And that's who our identity is. And so that to me is like what I'm looking for coming out is how big is the punch from OKC? How does it happen? And then how big of a dent is it? And can Indiana withstand that punch? Because if they can, they've fallen down early in a bunch of games. Like I think Indiana's confident. I think Indiana's comfortable. My question then also becomes like, all right, now you got a chance to win an NBA title. There's going to be some nerves there. How do you channel it? Whoever handles that, we'll see. But I think the way that manifests is going to be turnovers. If you can get the turnovers down, you win. If not, you don't have a shot.
Who do you think must play well for the Pacers if they want to pull off the upset?
Halliburton has to play. Again, he doesn't have to score a ton. He's got to be the engine that keeps them going. He's got to make sure that he's the one dictating the overall pace of the game. So many of these Game 7s are slogs. They are slugfests. If he can keep the pace high and not turn the ball over, super key. And then, after watching Game 6, dude, if Nembhard is making plays offensively, it's a total game changer for them. To have that secondary option, obviously Siakam's going to have to play well. I mean, at this point, McConnell's kind of got to play well. They need the points they count on from those guys. But Nembhard is more of like a wild card type of guy. And then obviously if Toppin plays well, like that's a huge bonus. Meanwhile, I think for Oklahoma City, that guy's Chet. Like, I trust J-Dub. I trust Shea. They're going to score 40 to 60 points between them. If between the three of them, they can get to 80, like, actually 80 would be really high. 70, I think you're in a pretty good shape. That's 2 of them getting 25, 1 of them getting 20.
Yeah.
And then you just need the supporting cast to not totally bonk. But that's going to involve Chet putting in a shift. And while I think Chet has continued to have a high effort, we're in Game 7. It's not about process anymore. It's results by any means necessary. So you gotta find a way to make a huge positive impact. I think ultimately Oklahoma City is going to get it done. But I got a funny feeling, and I have found myself in this series very much rooting for Indiana. So I'll be, I guess, in that way, happy either way.
I'm in the same boat as you, Craig. And
I like this OKC team.
Yeah, during the whole playoffs, I was like, OKC's going to win it. But, deep down, I've just been watching the Pacers, prove everybody wrong. And it's just like, all right, I want to see this story continue to go. I just want to see where it ends.
I just want a good, clean game, and I want both teams to play hard. And I want it to be close so we can have some entertainment. And also, thanks NBA for starting this game at 8 o'clock so your boy can watch all the way through live. I'll be up at the end, Anthony.
They were thinking about you when they made that executive decision.
About time. All right, that's mostly our show for today. When we get back, Real Things Real People Said into real microphones as we Rebecca Black ourselves out, because that's a verb, on a Friday. It's the Hoffman Show on a Friday on the Team 980. Always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube too at the Team 980. All right, Anthony, Game 7, we just made our picks. They were very lukewarm, were our picks, but we made them for Game 7. Monday, we will break all of that down. Let's see, what else we got? I think we got to take a mailbag that we might be able to get to. Anything else on the docket for Monday?
Hold on. Not on Monday, but I think we'll have Eben Novi Williams next Wednesday.
No, we just put him in the rundown
for next
somewhere. We'll have him somewhere next week. Wednesday will probably be mostly NBA draft. We'll have to figure all that out. We also will not be live at the Wizards draft party this year. Figure that out during the show. That's okay. We can do a great draft show from our studio. All right. What else we got? We'll review the Mystics action and everything else that happens this weekend. But right now, it is time for Real Things Real People Said into real microphones.
Real things.
We're not going to be sucked this year.
Real people.
5-11, not very good.
Said into real microphones.
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
All right, Aaron Wiggins, the Thunder guard, was on SiriusXM NBA radio, was asked about his coach, Mark Daigneault, and kind of how he is in conversation. And his answer humored Anthony, and I'm about to hear it along with you, unless you heard the interview originally, for the first time.
I did want to ask you about your coach, Mark Daigneault, being a little different, quirky. Yeah. Is he as quirky with you guys as he seems to be in front of the media?
Does he squint when y'all ask him a question? Because when we ask him questions, he be like he's almost like he's translating into English or something.
Yeah, no, he squints in regular conversations with us also. He's just a different dude. I think he processes things differently. He sees really deep into conversations and any sentence he hears. But I don't know, intellectually, I think there's just something different, wired up there for him. So just unique being.
That's a nice way to put it. Like you squint your eyes when you're trying to hear better.
Yeah,
that's what he looks like.
I think he squints in thought. Like I'm thinking about stuff. So
that's funny. He squints in thought. I've been known to squint in thought a time or two. Daigneault's an interesting story. I was reading. God, I wish I could remember where the piece was, but I was reading something on him. And it might have been a Ramona Shelburne ESPN piece about Oklahoma City in general and about Presti. Or no, it was John Hollinger wrote this piece about Presti. I think I referenced it because I think it was written in when they made the finals. So I referenced it on the show at some point. But anyway, Hollinger wrote about Presti, and in the piece about Presti and the Thunder organization, they're obviously talking about Daigneault. And basically, he's a guy that was raised in their organization. So this is kind of the next wave, I think, in some respects of NBA team building is. Can we not only raise players in our G League system, for instance, can we raise coaches? And so he was started off in their organization once he got to the NBA circles, and he was their coach of their G League team. And then when they decided to make the move and they went to hire a coach, they're just like, this is a guy who understands what we do. And when you look at how teams are integrated now, NBA to G League, it makes a lot of sense. It's we want to play the same way in the G League as we do in the NBA in the NBA club. And if you have a style of play and you can always tweak, right? Based off your talent. But if you kind of have principles that you have as an organization, it makes sense to raise your coach from within in the same way that you raise your players. So Just another unique facet of that Thunder organization that has quite worked out well for them. And it keeps the power dynamics where they want it in that front office, where Sam Presti is the god in charge. All right, that's our show. Game 7. Enjoy it. We'll talk about it on Monday here on the Team 980. Have a great weekend, everybody.